talk a bit about presentation style and also the recap of learning, right? So here are the guidelines that the judges are looking at. Basically, you have structure and content is actually 30 marks. So it's very important that the judges understand what is your content is and how each section flow with one another. I think that's very important. Effective use of presentation aids. So this comes about how are you going to use your presentation to drive your point. Quality of presentation mainly about your delivery, about how you know how you bring across the topic. And quality of preparation, there's another section, 20 marks is also looking at how you handle questions. So I am very certain that there will be questions. So I believe that questions will be a differentiating factor in terms of how you handle question. They will look at your confidence level as a differentiating factor to determine who is really like very good and who is really not so good in terms of question. So I think question will be the one that when I'm preparing you guys, and also presentation style. What are some of the presentation style? There's also one segment about the complexity of your technical content, like how is it? Do they find it like it's a difficult topic, it's a big topic, but you manage to cover it well, right? So these are the things that the judges look at. Okay. So here are the more detailed one. Later I will get you all to join Google Classroom. Even the slides and everything is in here. Okay, so we can know. Okay, so we look at structure. I will break down these different parts in the later slides, later segment. Right. So effective use of presentation aids. There are a few areas. One is engaging opening. At the start, you engage the audience, right? So how you interact with the audience also matters. Sometimes you ask a question, especially if it's something like impacting the environment and all that, like how you ask a question, or you normally start with something, start with a statement, right? So these are all engaging opening. We will look at that. Then later your content, we will look at the content and we'll look at maybe you may want to adopt a memorable closing statement, right? Like maybe it could be a cute cartoon or something. Okay, we have ended the presentation, something that people will remember you by. So engaging openings could be start with a story, like your to show the judge that you are part of the presentation, right? Like in your earlier presentation, you said that you play this game and things like that, right? So that you are part of it. So the judge can actually feel that you know the topic because you have done this, or my interest is in robotics. You know, in my spare time I build robots, and that's why I'm talking about robotics. Example, right? Or you can ask some thought-provoking question, like about the environment, about how like how you have done it, like the carbon footprint and things like that. You address questions that is very impactful and make the audience think. Then use shocking statistics. That's also another option. And you can share a quote, and you can use statements that invoke curiosity and then build on your points, right? And you can ask for participation. Another way is to ask some questions to the audience. So that's one way. So these are some methods of opening, and why do we do this rather than, ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to talk this. So it doesn't appear that flat, right? So we do this method. You find your own style, right? You not necessary we present this. You have to use it. You just find your own style. Okay. So that's opening. Now for structure, we basically look at how clearly you introduce the topic and how you are telling the audience what your presentation is about. For example, if you are introducing things like robotics, which is a very big topic, or things like reduce carbon footprint and all that, you must give some smaller context, right? How does this topic relate to you? I think that's the best. Like you feel for it, you feel it's important, or like what you said, after you have met the minister, you felt that okay, this is something that everyone should take ownership of, or things like that. Something like that that is very inspiring. What's your key message of the presentation, right? So a common method that I use to open my class, because I teach like digital marketing. So at the end of 2.5 days, you will learn this. You will learn how to configure your website to be able to be searchable in Google, for example. So at the start of my 2.5 days presentation, I tell people what to expect in the next 2.5 days, right? And is there a flow, right? So flow will a suggested flow is this. I mean, not necessarily you have to follow this. Um, you have an introduction, you have a topics covered slide like a summary, and then your actual presentation slide, and maybe you have a recap of learning at the end, or recap your points. Uh, they also look at technical content, like uh, is how complex or how novel, so you can make your uh, technical topic a little bit more relatable. So you can start with bees are a dying breed. So what if there is a world where there are no bees? Well, introducing that robotic bees is the solution for pollination or something like that. So it gives your presentation a little bit more bite, more purpose. Okay. One of the method to make presentation interesting, you don't need to weave this into this presentation, right? But one of the common method that people use is what we call the hero's journey. And the hero's journey simply means that you start, you are caught on an adventure, you meet someone, and then you face some struggles in life, and you get back up again. An example of hero's journey storytelling is Finding Nemo. Very dramatic, right? Lost the dad, then after that whole movie is about him and his adventures, go here, get led away, and then eventually found the dad. So that is an example of a hero's journey. Hero's journey is one of the common method. I mean, I put this here not for you all to weave into this presentation, but for future presentation you can consider using that, right? And there are also a few references that I gave in the Google Classroom later on. I'll share with you, right? So this is a video. I don't think I want to play the video. I want to focus more on your presentation later. So this video about this guy talking about how he started in yo-yo. A very interesting video. He started as yo-yo, not knowing anything, and becoming a yo-yo champion. This whole video is about 20 minutes. He uses the hero's journey storytelling method, and you will really see that his presentation is with demo and all that, so it makes it very interesting. Okay, I will not play this. Some of the some of the option for closing you can use is like you can summarize some of the key points. Okay, so we have covered this. You can end with a call to action. Well, I've shown you how important it is to reduce carbon footprint. Now, the next action that we can take is let's all do our part to reduce carbon footprint. So that would be an impactful finish, and then after that you walk off stage, right? So that kind of thing, right? You can use like a reference, you circle back in your closing, or use quotation, offer a solution, or emotional. Anything emotional, appeal to the audience. Again, this is optional, right? This will make your presentation really stick up. Like, you have a intro, you have a closing. Okay. I thought I cover this part because as a trainer, there are things that I do before I go uh, prepare myself before a training or before a teaching, right? So the physical part, right? Physical part very simple. You look at food, diet, rest. Make sure you rest like uh, like tomorrow. Let's say tomorrow is your presentation. Tonight have an early rest, right? Or if your presentation is like 2 p.m., make sure keep the morning light, that kind of thing. Come early, right? You don't want to be held up in traffic because when you're held up in traffic, you'll be very stressed. Just to give you guys a tip, for my 9 p.m. training, I normally will leave home at 6:30. I'm training here in Woodlands also, but I stay in Pasir Ris. Yeah, so I'll leave at 6:30, and I will reach around Woodlands at 8 a.m. My training is 9 a.m. Reason being is I rather be in Woodlands near the vicinity rather than at 8:30 I'm still on my way to Woodlands. Also, that later part I'll come to setup, which you all have to be always aware. Later we'll come to setup. Emotional, how you feel emotionally. Um, Keep things light, reconnect with family and all that. Listen to music. In your presentation, always keep eye contact. If you have a big room, look around. If you have a bigger stage, you will do this, and talk to people on this side, talk to people on this side. Always looking and maintaining contact, and that's how you move and you engage your presentation, and it's not that your presentation will be that boring. In a classroom setting, I will walk to each table and I will deliver, and I will walk to each table. There are 5 tables, I will walk to each table periodically and ask them and deliver my training as such. Then I'll turn back and I'll just focus back on the slide. So this gives people an impression that you are very personable, right? And people will connect with you better as a presentation, as a presenter, right? So what I'm going to share with you is way more than preparing you for Saturday, right? Because might as well, right? Mental, yeah, try to go away, stay away from anywhere, and at some point, right, throw away the notes. Okay, at some point, okay, when you are more comfortable, right? Then because the spiritual side, you just just be ready. There are some people that they call it anchor. Some people like to do anchor, like if you before you start anything, you like to do a very simple action, something like that, like you hold your fingers together. This is an anchor to tell yourself. It's a physical anchor because your fingers are touching each other. You tell yourself, I'm ready for presentation, and you try to calm yourself down. Different things work for different people. You can Google anchor. This called NLP, right? Neuro linguistic programming method. So anchor, some people when they do this, they feel more confident before the presentation. When I do, for me, is I just tell myself, I'm ready. That's it. That's my anchor. I'm ready, and then I just deliver the next 2.5 days training. Right? Different people have different thing. So find your anchor also, right? See whatever works. Okay. So what are some of the effective use of presentation aids that you saw so far just now in the slides? You saw videos, right? Videos. You saw some very simple animation. Keep your animation simple, right? So the question that the judge will be looking at is: are your presentation material used to effectively support your oral presentation? It will be. Generally, try not to make it too wordy. News article is okay, right? Yours have a news article. You show that based on news article. That one wordy is okay. but other than that, generally try not to. Right? Now, what do you do in presentation? Things like equipment. So I make sure that I have backup of equipment. Give you an example. This is a pointer, laser pointer thing, right? You must know how to work. You press this is the laser pointer. You move up and down is the slides. Okay. In case this whole thing doesn't work, this is my backup. Because I do training on a day-to-day basis, right? Okay. So I must not assume. I must not assume that every projector is giving me HDMI, right? So I got this HDMI to this old connector. In case what if the room is the old type of connector, and mine is HDMI, and I'm gonna present in the next 15 minutes. Where do I suddenly find this connector? If your Mac is even worse, right? Mac you have that. So always get ready all these connectors. This helps a lot. And what we talk about anchoring, right? So very quickly, right? What do you do to prepare yourself in a presentation? Let's share some of the points together so that we can learn together. There's no right or wrong. Again, who wants to share first? We have only 4 people. Let's share so that we can learn from one another. What do you do to prepare for a presentation? Apart from the looking at mirror, making sure you remember your script, what do you do?
Breathing exercises.
Doing exercises?
Breathing.
Breathing exercises, okay. What else? For the ladies, what do you do?
Understand the content.
Understand content, yeah, okay. What do you do few days before? It's got to do with food also. So normally for me, few days before I try not to eat fried food. 1 week before. Because in case socok leh.
Oh yeah.
So it's small things like this. So how do you prepare for presentation?
Drink more water.
Yeah, drink more water, important. Jamie, how you prepare for presentation? Slide, and then what else? Besides slide all this, what are some other things that you prepare for presentation? Script. 1 day before presentation? Panic. No panic. Okay.
Present
Jolly?
to a simple audience.
Present to a sample audience, yes.
I think for me it's pretty bad because I usually think on the spot and present. Yeah. So preparation wise, right, I usually just like you said, just breathing exercises and remember it's like you're presenting for them and not really care about yourself or your matters or everything something.
Preparation or
Mental preparation.
yeah, preparation or presentation also includes the familiarity of the tool. Left is right, the slide control, and where is the laser pointer? You press the wrong button, the laser pointer is not going to come out. And trust me, in your actual presentation part, when you press the wrong button, you won't even know to press the wrong button. Press the wrong button sometimes will be mute, no? This is the wrong button, mute. Then I panic, how come my slide all don't have? But because I press mute. There's a button that mute, right? So when I press mute, what happened? I'd be even more panic because I say, hey, how come the laser pointer? I keep on pressing the button. Yeah, this button is a mute.
Like
That
things like that.
off. No, it's to off.
Oh no.
Yeah. So do know the buttons well. This is part of presentation, right? But no, anything you present, how do you prepare yourself?
What I did for this is in the morning. Like I also memorized this a little bit, but in the morning I woke up at 8 o'clock.
This morning, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I started memorizing I started memorizing like a little bit so that during the presentation maybe I look like half, then maybe the other half I just say. But there's some when I present, every time when I present, I speak very fast, I cannot control it. So everything just comes out, everything from everywhere, so you get messed up.
So for your case, you break your presentation into segment. So you know like segments, right? Like she had like 1, 2, 3, 4, right? That is an example of a segment. So one segment. Try to slow down. Because you got 20 minutes. You got 20 minutes, not 10. Okay? If you have 10, then maybe because you have too much slides. Your 20 minutes is more than ample time.
I think it was 10 minutes only, that's why I rushed it very fast.
How many slides do you have?
I have about 30 now.
13? Okay, how many slides do you have?
Not
Total.
confirmed yet.
Yeah, roughly?
Around 13 or 15 there also.
13, 15. How many slides do you have? Roughly?
20, 30 something.
30 something slides. Okay, how many slides do you have? Not 4?
Around 25.
25, right? Okay. Roughly for a 20-minute presentation, it is not say you cannot have 30 slides. You can have 30 slides if it's supporting to what you have. But you must be aware that if you have 30 slides versus you have 20 slides, meaning to say your time on each slide is lesser. So yeah, go ahead.
What is your, like, based on the.
Recommended, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, normally you have 20 about 20 slides?
Yeah, so I assume I put one slide per 1 minute.
Roughly around there.
Okay.
So generally for a 20 minutes, right, you will keep it, you will try to do like 15 to 20, maybe about 22 slides, thereabouts.
Like excluding the like thank you, all these normal.
The thank you is just the last slide, thank you, the content and the main slide not including like.
Not including.
Yeah. But if you want to be strictly, actually by right is include everything. So about not wrong if she has 30 slides but she's able to cover within 20 minutes, and because the topic is interesting, right? Her segment, about MLT, she's talking about the different aspects on how the whole thing put together, then okay, also okay. But you as a presenter, you have to be aware how many slides you have. Okay. So they also look at quality of presentation and handling of question. How well planned and rehearsed was the presentation? That's 10 marks. This is easily can get one. You have to rehearse, right? And how does the entrant handle the question? It's 10 marks. How you handle the question is how well you know the topic, right? And things like this. Vocal variety and tone pacing, right? So how do you talk? Your energy is very important when you open.
Yeah.
And to keep that energy throughout is also important, right? Pacing to do impactful presentation. Use of hand gestures when needed to. It's okay when you talk, you gesture a bit, but not too much. Not like, hey, and then your hand goes like a bit kung fu. When your hand goes a bit kung fu, then it's very distracting, right? Use pause. So especially when you are a certain part, you use pause. For you, if you talk fast, right, every few slides, try to pause a little bit. So that will allow you to control your pacing. Body language and gesture is very important. Always maintain eye contact. Left, right in the room, talking to you all, I must make sure I go over to him and look at him. Because if not, if I keep on talking to you all, this part of the room will feel neglected. That's why in classrooms, I think I walk from front and back, left to right, to keep the engagement going. It's very important, right? Yes?
So during the actual event, right, I think that the visualizer is actually blocking or let's say limiting ourselves to move around the.
For that setting, you are not required to move around.
Okay.
It's okay. The only thing is voice projection. Voice projection is very important. Not so much important for these classrooms, I think, you guys can all hear me. We are not seated very far away. But in an auditorium setting, you have to project your voice. I'm used to doing training. To me, it's second nature. But I'm not expecting you guys to be second nature. You need to know the difference between your normal pitch, talking to your family, versus a presentation pitch. It's different. Right? During break, when I talk to you guys, it's not this, definitely not this state lah. You know what I mean? So this is body language and gestures, and tips for handling and answering questions. Active listening, right? You just listen to the question first. If you are not sure of what the question or what they are trying to ask, you have to clarify. Okay, you have to clarify. Do you mean this, you know, or do you mean this context? Something like that. So you ask, it's clear, then you can answer, right? And provide always very clear and concise answers, right? And also presentation style. They say, do you give an engaging presentation? There's 10 marks, right? Engaging presentation. There's a few things, few styles. Informative presentation. You know, do you bring the information across? Persuasive or storytelling. Storytelling method works. So things like you know, evolution of MRT and all this. You can try to weave it a little bit, but if you find that the time frame is too short, because Saturday, realistically speaking, just do what you can, right? Not necessarily you have to weave the whole thing, because if you weave into storytelling, then it involves you know, doing your whole slides and all that. There is a lot of effort. It's way too much effort. We don't have that much of the time, but do keep this in mind for future presentation. Right, so we have seen the guidelines, we have seen the structure and use of presentation, quality presentation and presentation style. Right, so we are done.
I have one question.
Yes.
No, it's like, okay, for example, as a judge, right?
Yes.
For example, this person A has only like, for example, like 11 slides or 12 slides, right?
Yes.
But then the other person like, will the judge like penalize you? And for example, you only have like 11 slides, but the thing is, you did
Can you help him give you a hotspot?
most of the info.
My phone switch off
and you
already.
finish it like less than.
Can you
maybe
tether
11
internet?
minutes.
Basically,
My phone switch off.